second-degree murder ×2.
The Crown has made a determination that they think they can get a conviction.
A city police officer charged in a 2023 shooting on Memorial Drive.
Expressing our commitment to responsible redevelopment.
A public hearing over a vacant Northwest lot.
Risks associated with venting creosote-related components into the atmosphere.
Environmental concerns have some demanding the housing proposal be shelved.
We can forecast how better to prepare for these events in the future.
And how Calgary's so-called Hale Alley is providing researchers with valuable data.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Camilla DiGiuseppe.
Good evening. A Calgary police officer is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder following a shooting 2 years ago along Memorial Drive. It follows what police called at the time a slow-speed pursuit of a coupe van that ended with 2 men being shot and killed by police. Alberta's police watchdog says evidence it reviewed provides reasonable grounds to move forward with the charges. Tyson Fedor reports.
Calgary Police Constable Craig Stothard, seen here from a CTV News story in 2018, is facing 2 counts of second-degree murder in the shooting deaths of 2 men.
Surprised by the rarity of these charges related to Canadian policing.
A rare charge for a police officer in Canada to face. On May 29th, 2023, police responded to reports of a stolen cube van driving erratically but very slowly along Memorial Drive near Reconciliation Bridge. Police said officers pursued the vehicle and tried to intercept it with a barricade of police cruisers. The driver did not listen. Police opened fire, and Levon Fox and Wesley Davidson were killed. A 3rd man was taken into custody.
We recognize the profound impact that this incident has had and will continue to have on all involved. Many lives will and have been impacted forever.
Alberta's Serious Incident Response Team investigated the case for more than 2 years. It recommended the charges following evidence it gathered. The chief did not name the victims but did refer to Fox's Indigenous heritage.
This news today does not change the fact that we are committed to providing equitable and culturally respectful policing services and embracing Indigenous worldviews.
The 51-year-old officer involved is a 15-year veteran of the Calgary Police Service.
We can't give the officer the benefit of the doubt that just because he's a police officer and has had the training, that his actions were justifiable. The Crown has made a determination that they think they can get a conviction. So it's going to have to play out in a court of law.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
The family of Levon Boyce Fox say they are relieved to see that police officers are not above the law. 51-year-old Stothard appeared in a Court of King's bench today. He is not in custody and out on bail and currently on leave from the force. RCMP continued to investigate after a man was shot in a vehicle in Airdrie last night in what Mounties are calling a targeted attack. The man was in a black Ford Bronco and bullet holes can be seen in the driver's door. His injuries are not life-threatening and a passenger was not hurt. The suspects took off in a vehicle that was later found, but no one was arrested. RCMP say there is no risk to the public. 3 people were hurt in a crash on Memorial Drive during the morning commute. A van hit a curb on Memorial, careened across a green space and launched into Deerfoot Trail. It slammed into a car and ended up on its side in the median. Police closed northbound Deerfoot and westbound Memorial for several hours. The driver of the van is in serious but stable condition. The driver and the passenger in the car have minor injuries. Police are still investigating. A man died after he was hit by a C train overnight. It happened at the Canyon Meadows LRT station around 2 a.m. Police believe the death is non-criminal. Shuttle buses were used to transport passengers between the Fish Creek and Anderson stations. A Southeast industrial packaging company suffered heavy damage after a fire last night. Smoke was seen pouring out of the building around 9:40 p.m. It took about 30 minutes to get it out. By the time it was extinguished, the interior had heavy smoke damage. Investigators were back at the scene this morning as they looked into the cause. Nobody was hurt. A public hearing at City Council got underway tonight over a controversial inner-city redevelopment in Hillhurst. Present were area residents worried what construction could mean for soil contamination, along with the developer behind the proposal.
Our findings show that the land at 1706 Westmount Boulevard Northwest can be used safely now and in the future without harming people or the environment.
The developer, Anthem Properties, which made the application for the land redesignation, along with its panel of experts, presented their case to council. What's proposed is a 269-unit apartment complex that would be built at the former CBC building site on Westmount Boulevard. Area residents are concerned with increased traffic, parking, and building height, but the biggest worry is the creosote-contaminated soil that they say would be disturbed during construction and could be harmful to people. Decades ago, a wood treatment plant operated across the Bow River, leaving behind creosote contamination, which seeped over to the other side of the river. A 3-year-old provincial report found the site's contamination is mostly confined to the south portion of the lot and would not pose a risk through inhalation. But area residents don't agree.
However, the most immediate step that can be taken is to revert back to the original proposal for the immediate site, which was townhouse development, which did not involve the degree of disturbance at the site that the current proposal is.
The public hearing will resume tomorrow at 1 p.m. More than a dozen speakers signed up to address council before a debate and vote. If it's approved, construction could start as early as next summer, wrapping up in 2028. Another proposal to redesignate land for a massive development in Marda Loop is going ahead. The Mark and Marda block by Truman Homes and Calgary Co-op could see 2 high-rise and 2 mid-rise towers built, making up 441 units, covering a 2-acre parcel of land between 33rd and 34th Avenues and 20th and 21st Streets Southwest. The city received 136 letters against the proposal and 3 in favor. Still, council voted 13-1 in favor of the land use change. New rules will require Calgary Transit users to scan their mobile tickets before they board a C train. Starting tomorrow, riders must scan their activated mobile tickets at the platform. This aligns with the current requirement to scan mobile tickets while boarding buses. Calgary Transit found that about 46% of adults and 50% of youth were not using their tickets correctly. As well, some people were avoiding paying at all.
When they don't see a peace officer, they wait until they activate the ticket. When they don't see an officer, they do not activate. Now, with the introduction of a validator, they are now going to scan and validate the ticket.
Electronic mobile tickets were first introduced in 2020. Sunday's hailstorm was nowhere near as destructive as the massive one that hit last year, but that doesn't mean it left Calgary unscathed. Today, a team of researchers from Western University is in Calgary surveying the damage. As Kevin Green reports, the Northern Hail Project wants to help make more cities more resilient and protect against damage in future storms.
Using drones, first-hand accounts, and a series of hail monitors positioned throughout Calgary, the Northern Hail Project plotted the path of Sunday's storm. As this map shows, it started in the northwest near Royal Oak and cut a path across the north part of the city, angling into the southeast near Forest Heights. It eventually ran out of steam just south of Chestermere Lake.
It only went through the city in about 30 minutes, so fairly quickly to cover that much area, as compared to last year's storm, which was in Calgary on the north end for much longer.
Tuesday, the team was on the ground, measuring, photographing, and recording the damage.
It looks like quite a bit of siding damage, especially to PVC siding, as well as tree shred.
Along Norseman Road in North Haven, cars sport the distinctive dimples of hail damage.
I don't know. I wish we could do something about it, but there's not much you can do. Mother Nature is crazy.
West-facing houses bore the brunt of the storm as powerful winds hurled hailstones at them with incredible force.
I've never seen it like that. It was like someone had a gun and was shooting at you. But we were all scared that it would break the window and the water would come in.
As in last year's hailstorm, houses with vinyl siding fared worst. The team from Western University hopes their findings will influence building codes in hail-prone areas.
We look at what breaks, what doesn't, and then we can recommend what materials people use in their houses, what goes into building code reviews, and how to improve resilience to these disasters into the future.
The team from Western University's Northern Hail Project is based in Olds every summer, where they chase and assess major storms, including tornadoes, as they blow through the province. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
Is in with our first look at the weather. Nice break from all that rain, but more is on the way.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reset day out there. It was a little chillier outside, but we did eventually get that sunshine creeping up in the evening hours there, and it'll shape up to be a pretty clear night tonight. So expect the temperatures to really cool off because of that. We don't have any of the clouds in the sky now to trap that heat from the ground, so it's all escaping back up to space. So 7 degrees for our low this evening, and then we pick up nicely tomorrow. A little bit more sunshine on tap, partly cloudy, 20 degrees, but we could see the potential for some smoke to drift in as well. I'll have all those details coming up in your full forecast.
Gina, thank you so much. Still to come, most people like to live in harmony with their neighbors, but one Calgary family says their relationship with a neighbor has soured to the point where police say there's little they can do.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
The Calgary family is concerned after a neighbor they usually get along with was caught on camera holding weapons, destroying their property, and shouting racial slurs. While police say it's a mental health matter, the family thinks police and political leaders need to do more. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
A peaceful neighborhood in southeast Calgary is where Joffrey Davila and his family have lived for 12 years. But a neighbor's bizarre behavior has them thinking about moving.
This is really home for me, so it's kind of hard.
When his truck was vandalized, he installed security cameras. Later, video captured a neighbor on the driveway holding hatchets and shouting racial slurs before chopping into their planters. Davila called 911, but says the responding officer called it a mental health incident and never followed up.
I just don't want someone to get hurt. I don't want him to get hurt, or he can hurt someone else.
Last week, he called 911 again after video caught the neighbor kicking Davila's garage. Then again that night when they woke to loud sounds and saw this video of the neighbor with hatchets at the front door, once again shouting slurs.
Oh, it's terrifying. I was shaking. I don't really get scared, but that one scares me.
He gave an officer his videos, and days later, after CTV called police, he got a text saying police are still investigating. CPS says it received 4 complaints, but says, while the behavior is concerning to police, there is currently insufficient evidence to support criminal charges. Officers work closely with mental health specialists.
Once an individual is then supported and addresses that, these behaviors should be mitigated, but it's tough. I do emphasize with it the situations.
But one legal expert says that's not good enough.
When you have a neighbor standing in front of your front door with 2 hatchets spewing racial epithets, that's an offense in the Criminal Code of Canada. Police are dealing with fire here. The police have got to up their game here.
Davila wants action, and not just for his family.
There's a mental issue involved. Of course, they need help, right? But us too, we need help. We need peace of mind. I want my house to be my sanctuary.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Mounties in High River are looking for a man who stole a pride flag while making a Nazi gesture. It was caught on security video. Sunday night, a man walked up to a home in the southeast part of town, made a Nazi salute, and ripped a flag off the porch. He then made a rude gesture toward the camera as he left. Call RCMP or Crime Stoppers if you recognize the man. 2 of 3 Calgary daycare programs shut down last summer due to safety concerns are planning to reopen after a successful appeal. The licenses of 3 Little Scholar daycare programs in the Northeast and Northwest were revoked last August. The province cited an imminent danger to children, including restraining of children and a lack of supervision. 70 staff were out of work and hundreds of families scrambled for childcare. Little Scholars lawyers say a citizen appeal panel has now rescinded the province's decision on 2 programs, allowing them to reopen in the coming months. Many parents remain frustrated with the company.
We would be really happy to support them again, provided that when this all started last year, that they had given us our refunds like we had been promised. They had given us updates as to what was going on, but essentially they just left 300 families on the lurch. We never got a refund. We never got answers from them, and we were left in the dark.
Little Scholars lawyers say they'll ask the province to compensate families. The office of the minister responsible hasn't responded to our request for comment. Family and friends of a Calgary woman diagnosed with a rare and aggressive breast cancer are raising money to send her to a treatment center in Germany. Tyler Barrow has more.
61-year-old Donna Ouellette has come to cherish enjoyable moments like these ones with her daughter. It's been a long health battle for Donna, who was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer in October of 2016, a form of cancer insensitive to hormones, which also lacks a specific growth protein, making it harder to treat.
I had no emotion whatsoever. I guess I was shocked.
In January of 2017, she began chemotherapy. Her diagnosis worsened in 2019 of metastatic triple-negative breast cancer as it began spreading to her liver and lungs. She stopped going to chemo back in April. The disease has progressed to stage 4.
There's no chemotherapies left for me, so I'm dying.
She's facing one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer, according to this oncologist.
Stage 4 is the most spread tumor in how far the severity is only depending on the spreading of the disease.
Dr. Stefan Van Gool works at an immunotherapy center in Germany. It is there the Ouellette's family and friends hope to send her. They say it is the last chance at extending her life. Dr. Van Gool says the treatment would aim to strengthen and activate Ouellette's immune system.
We can try to vaccinate this patient with her cells against her cancer.
While he says there are no guarantees it would work, there's a good chance the treatment would extend Ouellette's life. But it's not cheap, and it's not covered by Canadian health care. Her loved ones have launched a crowdfunding effort to raise $200,000.
If we're able to raise the money for my mom, that would mean the world to me and to my family.
And for Donna, there's nothing more she would like than more time to spend with her 10-year-old grandchild, Phoenix.
I'm not ready to die. I have too much work to do in this world.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
A link to the GoFundMe can be found on our website. Well, Gina's up next with her Skywatch forecast, and we have more rain coming our way. Details next.
Well, the wet weather has come and gone, and now we're getting some totals from that system that moved through. Well, I guess it's a combined 2 systems that we're talking about, that storm on Sunday and then the rain event on Monday. So those totals combined, 71.3 millimeters for Beaver Mines, which is just west of Pincher Creek. For us at the airport here in Calgary, we clocked just about 50 millimeters, just shy of it. But it was a good dose of rain. We get a little bit of a break, but of course that allows for smoke to make its way back into the province. So we do have air quality advisories in effect here for several areas, really from Edmonton or east of Edmonton, along that border there with Saskatchewan, down to the U.S. border, and then it skirts across to the west too, and meeting the BC border there. So Lethbridge is impacted, Crow's Nest Pass, Medicine Hat. Us in Calgary, not quite, and we might not actually get into that air quality criteria, but keep it on the radar tomorrow. Our wind setup could allow for some of that smoke to the south of us to drift into Calgary, but as it stands right now, no advisories in effect for the city or the surrounding area. We managed to get up to 17 degrees today, so it's a little chillier out there. Tomorrow, aiming to get back to closer to seasonal temperatures. Usually this time of year, Calgary hits a high of about 23 degrees. We might get to 20 tomorrow, so not too bad. We're into the 20s at the very least, but there's going to be a lot of fluctuation in the forecast over the next couple of days, and you see that play out in the regional forecast here. We'll have a system move in early, or I should say late Wednesday, early Thursday morning. That'll start to bring some showers and some heavy rain likely on Thursday morning here in Calgary. That'll drive down our temperatures. We're aiming for a high of 15 in Calgary on Thursday. That's the same for many areas here on the map. And then we get back up into some temperatures in the low 20s by the time Friday comes around with a mix of sun and cloud. So for Calgary tomorrow, again, chance of smoke throughout the day, mix of sun and cloud, rain starting late at night into Thursday morning, which will cool things off back up to 21 on Friday there, and then more instability on tap as we look ahead to Saturday and Sunday.
All right, Gina, thanks. Just ahead, it was sold by accident. The effort's now underway to track a cherished painting from the Bayou Ranch gift shop. Next. The Bayou Ranch National Historic Site aims to be authentic. Even the gift shop is adorned with relics and artwork celebrating Alberta ranching. But after a special painting was mistakenly sold, friends of the Bayou are hoping to recover it. Stephanie Thomas explains.
About an hour south of Calgary, the Bayou Ranch is a throwback to a time when the buffalo roamed. This painting by Corey Bawalda imagines the landscape and the bison on the Western Range before the Bayou Ranch came to be. It hung here on the wall until last week.
What were the chances of somebody walking in, seeing that, and going, oh, how much is that? Is that for sale?
The staff member who sold it didn't realize the piece wasn't for sale and was owned by the gift shop general store, managed by the Friends of the Bayou.
We had the perfect storm. We had a brand new staff member. She had opened the store like 10 minutes earlier.
It was sold for what the store bought it for a year ago, but the price tag isn't being shared. The ranch estimates it's worth about $10,000 if it was ever put up for sale. However, the artist says it was a priceless addition to the ranch.
I paint because I enjoy it, but it's not the monetary value of it or anything. To me, it means more to me to have it there.
To celebrate Canada's Western history.
And it's the only spot in Canada that celebrates that authentic sort of evolution of ranching in Canada.
A Facebook post regarding the painting is getting hundreds of shares.
It's not a crime, it was an error, and we just like to fix that error and bring the painting home.
She says the store is offering a full refund. Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Longview.
And anyone with information is asked to contact Friends of the Bayou. We have more details on our website. That's it for us here at CTV News at 11:30. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.